Hello, and thank you for watching 24 Plus and all of our social media platforms. I'm ABC 24 anchor Pepper Baker. Shelby County primaries are over, and now we are looking ahead to the general election in August. Shelby County voters will choose a new mayor, and it's down to 2 candidates. So today we are checking back in with former Tennessee State Representative John DeBerry, who is the Republican nominee running to be the next Shelby County mayor. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me today.
Again, actually. So
yeah,
good to see you. So first, just how are you feeling about your campaign? What's the status? Where are you at? Just how is it going?
I think the status of our campaign is very competitive. I think we have a very exciting and committed group of people who are working very hard throughout the county to get our message out, to meet with people from different neighborhoods, the suburban areas, the urban areas. And I think that our message is resonating. Basically, it's with me, I don't make personal attacks. It's not about going after people. It's about giving them a message of an alternative to what we've had, the status quo, telling them to change the story, to change the way we've been doing things if they really think that they have not gone as well as they should have. And so that's the main thing we've been doing for the last couple of months, and that's talking to people and basically giving them the facts about Memphis and Shelby County for them to consider, and then asking them to consider my leadership.
Okay, and you were able to do a primary campaign unopposed. For the most part, you know, some people dropped out, but you know, there was a crowded Democratic primary, and now we know that it is Commissioner Mikel Lowry you're going to be up against. There were 2 other, you know, pretty big names, or all of them were really big names, honestly. But did you see Commissioner Mikel Lowry prevailing? Was that a surprise to you?
Well, I knew it was going to be competitive between, in most folks' opinions, the top 3 candidates. It was a little bit of surprise. I knew that it would be, I thought it would be a nail biter. And so to see him prevail as easily as he did, that was an interesting result. And I think that here again, this is democracy. The people made their choice, and now they get an opportunity to look at both brands, both parties, both individuals. And what we're wanting them to do is look skill, aptitude, and fitness. It's not about whether or not a person is a good person or whether they've been a good corporate executive, even whether or not they have been effective or ineffective in their particular position. The mayor of Shelby County has a tremendous amount of authority and influence that is given by the charter. It is not a position to learn. It is not a position to go in to where you are not ready to deal with all the complex issues and complex problems of the largest county in the state of Tennessee, which Shelby County is. We have a new governor going in. We'll have many new legislators. It's going to be incumbent upon the mayor to be able to build relationships, to reach across the aisle, to talk to that governor, to make sure that Shelby County has access to all of the benefits of the state of Tennessee. That's going to continue to make her great. And that's what I intend to do.
Okay, strong point there, and you definitely answered my next question. It was going to be why are you the better choice? But I think you made that clear. So when we talk about current events here or things that the mayor is going to have to do, we've seen some recent headlines. So the first one is Shelby County passed their budget, and that included a nearly 2-cent increase to the county property tax. Did you find, you know, residents and property taxes, nobody wants their property taxes to be increased, you know, but did you find that necessary?
Well, I think that all of us as Shelby Countyans are grappling with property tax. It doesn't matter how well you live or how much money you make. If it's based upon the price of your home and the prices of your property, so everybody's going to have to add just a little more to pay the tax man to cover the budget that has been voted on by the Shelby County Commission. I have said it over and over, and I will stand by it. I think that there are enough resources coming from the federal government, the state government, and the local governments for Shelby County to run better than it's running now. I think that we have got to be mindful that this is not monopoly money. This is the taxpayers' money. And then individuals who are striving to put food on the table right now, striving to keep the lights on, striving to take care of their children, an extra $100 or $200 to their house note might be devastating. And when you think about the fact that you look at our government entities that are stressing people, taking people's properties, it makes us step back and say and ask ourselves, are we making the best use of our resources? I say that we are not. I think that there are too many individuals who are collecting a paycheck from the county. I think that we give away too much money. I think that there are programs that are not necessarily necessary or duplications. And I think there are a lot of nonprofits, for instance, that are getting money from Shelby County that probably are not serving a purpose for the people of Shelby County.
Wow. So would it be safe to say that you would look elsewhere to maybe cut back on before you would consider another property tax increase if you were to become mayor?
Oh, I would never make a tax increase the absolute first option. As I told you before when we talked, I come from a culture where we had to live within our means. The state of Tennessee is consistently, annually voted the best run state in the union. Why? We have a constitutional mandate to balance the budget. We can't borrow our way out of debt. We can't spend money that we don't have. We can't create programs that we cannot properly fund. In essence, before we go side-die in Nashville, we've got to pay the bills, protect our bond rating, protect our credit rating, and make sure that we have money in the rainy day fund and that we take care of the people of the state of Tennessee. The people have got to become the priority, not the programs, not the political parties, not all of the cronyism, phonyism, and nepotism. We've got to take care of the people a lot better in Shelby County. The state of Tennessee sends a tremendous amount of money to Shelby County for health care, for education, for infrastructure, for law enforcement and safety. It's not a matter of money. If folk look behind the budget, what they will find are billions and billions of dollars that are being sent to Shelby County. And we've got to have better leadership and better management.
So follow the money. And you know, that's interesting you say that because I've been here about 4 years and I constantly always heard the argument was that West Tennessee doesn't get as much money as East Tennessee. So, you know, digging into the budget is definitely a good way to see what is actually going on. Shelby County's had problems getting their budget approved by the state comptroller for a number of years. And one was notably 2026 fiscal year. So how do you plan to just make sure that that won't happen moving forward?
Well, if I'm Shelby County Mayor, the first thing I want to do is find out what do we have, who do we owe, and what are the problems? We've been kicking the can down the road for decades. How long have we been talking about 201 Poplar? Thank God something's happening on Regional 1 right now, but how long have we been talking about Regional 1? How long have we been talking about infrastructure issues, road issues, bridges? I think that so many Shelby Countyans don't realize that Shelby County has responsibility for at least 800 miles of roads. At least 800 miles. Wow. Over 1,000 bridges and overpasses are the direct responsibility of Shelby County. So we got a tremendous amount of money from the state of Tennessee. And I believe that our county employees, our road people, they're doing the best they can with what they have. But if the resources are not there, if the sheriff cannot get his appropriation to properly fund beyond his force. If education has snafus to where the $1.7 billion that is sent from the state is not properly taking care of our hardworking and sacrificial teachers and protecting our students, then it's going to take somebody using the influence. There's a tremendous amount of influence given in that charter for the Shelby County mayor. He may not run the school system, may not run the sheriff department, but he has a tremendous amount of influence to rally the people of Shelby County so that their influence will get things done.
You mentioned the jail. That was my next current event kind of topic here, was the recent problems with a water main break just kind of exacerbated what was already wrong infrastructurally there. So what's your strategy on improving jail conditions? Do you think there needs to be a brand new jail? Do you think it's just about updating what we already have or expanding the downtown blighted or vacant buildings? And then you mentioned the sheriff. So, two-part question here. Talking about, what needs to happen with the new jail or if there needs to be a new jail. And then what kind of relationship do you plan to have with the new sheriff?
Well, I know that this will come as a shock, but I don't have all the answers. And I'm not claiming to be the smartest person in Shelby County. What I do claim is that I will find the smartest people available, the people who are experts in architecture and engineering, experts in criminal justice, in therapy, psychology, dealing with the mentally ill that are in those jails, many of whom are the ones overpopulating the jail. I will, within the first 100 days, put together various groups of experts and folks with superior knowledge who will come and look at all of these issues that we've been kicking down the road. Find out what's wrong. It's the old corporate saying that we all learned in business: inspect, detect, correct. That's what we've got to do. And I'm hoping that within that first 100 days, we at least know how to come back to the people of Shelby County and report, this is what's wrong, this is what we've got, this is what we've got to do, this is what we still need, and then we put all of that together in order to get the job done. I will meet with the sheriff, whoever that individual is, he or she is. I will meet with the sheriff of Shelby County on a regular basis. How in the world am I, as mayor, going to keep Shelby County safe without dealing with our chief law enforcement officer? Our sheriff department, these are our chief law enforcement officers for Shelby County. Germantown, Collierville, Lakeland, Arlington, Millington, others, if I left any out. Our suburban areas have great police departments and they have great police chiefs. I've met many of them. We have to have a convalescing of all of our officers, of all of our departments from across Shelby County. Sit down at the table. Look at Shelby County from one end of Shelby County to the other end of Shelby County. Make sure that we're policing properly, that we're protecting our citizens, and that we're properly using our resources. But more than that, make sure we're protecting our men and women in uniform. I want them to know that the people of Shelby County and its resources for our fire department, our sheriff department, our first responders, these people put their life on the line every day.
They do.
It makes no sense for them to have to fight for a retirement and for benefits and for a decent salary in the largest county in the state of Tennessee. We're going to put an end to that.
Okay, strong words there. I see the passion behind that. You mentioned Regional 1, so part of this has a little bit of the clerk's office included in it because the wheel tax revenue was supposed to kind of go towards a new Regional 1. We know that there's been problems within the clerk's office too, and the relationship between the county mayor and the county clerk. So, how do you plan to track funding, make sure that that office, or work with the new clerk that will be coming in to make sure that funding is where it's going, the tracking and the bookkeeping and everything checks out And then mentioning New Regional 1, where does that stand in your eyes?
Well, that is an issue that I know that they began to tear down the old commercial appeal building. I know that there is a very ambitious plan for Regional 1. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of the folks that put that together, that finally started moving on this, and whichever of our officials and political leaders that had a hand in that, I congratulate them. I want to use a methodology across Shelby County where, as I said before, that we find people who can answer the questions. I know that when we think about 201 Poplar, as we call it, they've had infrastructure issues, air conditioning issues, heat issues, flooding, overcrowding. And here's what many of us forget. It's not just uncomfortable for the inmates. It's uncomfortable for the officers. They've got to be there in the belly of the beast also. And we've got to think about them as well as being humane as possible. Just because a person has committed a crime, or even if they are mentally ill, that doesn't mean they're an animal. And we are a civilized society. We're better than this. And being a Christian, and I know that the majority of people in Shelby County are, we want to do right. Yes, we want to detain those who are dangerous, but at the same time, we don't want to become what they are, which is why we've got to fix that jail.
Okay. There was a resolution that current County Mayor Harris was a part of that had to do with an agreement to contract minority businesses for the Regional 1 project. And now the state has, dismantled DEI policies, programs were cut statewide. But where do you stand on keeping minority-owned local businesses in getting equal opportunities or chances for work?
Well, I understand the larger issue when you start talking about DEI, when you start talking about some of the things that have been dismantled with the federal government and other places. But here's the thing I think we in Shelby County have got to keep in mind. Everybody in Shelby County that can perfect a contract is either an African American or a Democrat. So how is it that the people who are drawing up the contracts, voting for the contracts, voting for the budgets, deciding who does the job, how are they going to simply say that, oh yeah, they're going to jump over all the people of Memphis and Shelby County and go all the way to Washington and say it's their fault that Junebug don't have a contract when he qualifies for the contract? Everybody that can perfect a contract in Shelby County are Shelby Countyans. And so I know the issue on a national scale, but this is not national, it's local, this countywide. They can give a contract to whoever they choose to give it to.
That's a hard point to argue with. I see what you mean there. All right, so you talked about partnerships, and a lot of people, we're about halfway through here, so a lot of people have been talking about how this could possibly be a new era for Shelby County government, given that there will be a new county mayor, new commissioners, new sheriff, new clerk. So a lot, in my 4 years here, there's been a lot of reporting on just how contentious the relationships can be. So what is your vision for what a cohesive, professional, effective Shelby County government looks like? Well,
an effective Shelby County government will be one that understands that Shelby County is not an island. We talked about that before. Shelby County is not an island. We can't act like an island. We are strategically, militarily, commerce and economics. Shelby County, Memphis is extremely important to the United States of America. So we can't pretend that we're just some little rinky-dink place off to the side. In order for us to be what we're capable of becoming, we've got to build relationships, making policy, appropriations, getting grants, all the things that we want from state government and federal government means having a team that understands how to build relationships, how to talk to anybody, and what to say to everybody. You build a team like that. I've heard folks changing their rhetoric lately. I remember during the primary, everybody was throw the president out, throw the Republicans out, burn the bridges, lock the doors. Now, all of a sudden, folks are saying, I'm going to reach across the aisle and I'm going to, past behavior matters. Past behavior matters. That I have been a bridge builder in Nashville for over 30 years. I have been known as a consensus maker, as a person that worked with both Democrats, Republicans, black, white, I don't care who you are, where you live. Making public policy demands public input, public access, and public responsibility. And that's the way I've tried to do my politics. And that's why I've been successful in Nashville. And that's why we'll be successful as Shelby County Mayor.
And as Shelby County Mayor, we've seen the grant program kind of take some issue lately with current and former elected officials. So, I wanted to get your thoughts on whether or not you think the grant program needs to be reformed. If you plan, just any thoughts of if it's got issues within it and has been for a while, or what it would take to make sure that there is no corruption going on. You
mean grants from the state and the federal government, or grants that are managed within the Shelby County government?
Particularly focused on the county, but all can apply.
Yeah, well, I think that it is a matter of accountability and responsibility. There is a biblical passage that I love to quote sometimes. It says, men love darkness rather than light because their deeds are evil. This is why the people of Shelby County have to maintain a vigilance over the people they elect. You don't just send people downtown, send them to the county commission, send them to the city council, send them to the governor's mansion, and then don't require accountability as though it's their money. This is not monopoly money. This is not personal money. This is the taxpayers' money. So all grants and appropriations that come from Washington, that come from Nashville, that come from the tax-paying, hardworking taxpayers of Shelby County, it will be my job and others to make sure that every one of those dollars are spent for the benefit of Shelby Countyans. And let me say this also. A lot depends on our relationship with the people in Nashville. There are too many jobs in Shelby County that are dependent on grants that can be snatched at any time. I want to build a relationship with the Finance Committee, the Health Committee, the Education Committee, the Appropriation Committees in Nashville, to where some of those grants can be reoccurring appropriations, where people are not worried about the job every 2 years because it's a grant, especially if it's a good program and it's benefiting the people of Shelby County. And so there are a lot of things we're going to look into, and this is why we're going to surround ourselves with smart people.
You are running as a Republican, but you were a longtime Democrat. Mm-hmm. In your campaign and messaging, have you been seeing where Democrat voters are maybe possibly starting to sway your way?
I think that people are. It's not necessarily about me as much as it is about them having had enough. And many of those on the other side are becoming desperate. One of the things I have to look in the mirror every day, Pepper, if you don't mind me calling you Pepper.
That's
I have
fine.
to look in the mirror every day and look at the man looking back at me and ask myself if my Father in heaven is pleased with this individual. So there are certain lines I don't cross. I don't call my opponent's name. I don't attack my opponent's family. In the 32 years I've been in politics, I have never put my opponent's name on a piece of material and mailed it out in a negative fashion. My thing is, if I can't get the job with who I am and what I've done and my record, then I don't need the job. Don't hire me. If you can't hire me because of me, don't hire me. Don't hire me because I tore down the other guy and I talked about his family and I called them names like sellout and Uncle Tom and all the stuff that's out there resonating from some even in the faith community. And it makes you wonder what God these people are serving, what Bible these people are reading, when they can say some of the inflammatory, disrespectful stuff that I've seen in the last few days. And as I said, my goal is to go and be the mayor. My ultimate goal is one day go to heaven. And I am not going to jeopardize that for a job.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. That was a little lesson there. Preaching to the choir. I hear you. So you worked as the senior advisor to Governor Bill Lee. I know that's a good relationship there. We will be having a new governor. Just how do you, what's your strategy, or just how do you anticipate establishing a new relationship with a new governor?
Well, I know all these people. They're good people. Either of them that wins, the Democrat, there are 4 major candidates. Right. All of them are good people. And I figure, having been in Nashville as long as I have, you got a very strong bureaucracy, people who have worked for the state for many, many years. So it's not like they're going to get in and the state's going to go crazy. The legislature is not going to allow that to happen. But from day one, I can walk into whoever is governor. I can walk into their office, I can sit down with them, and I can talk about the problems and the needs of Shelby County, and they're going to listen. And I think that Shelby County will be in the strongest position that we have been in decades because of the current economics, the current politics, the things that are happening around the nation. It's not an accident that the President of the United States and the Governor of the state of Tennessee all of a sudden taking interest in Shelby County and Memphis. It's because we are strategically important to the economic, military, and social health of this country. And it's going to take a leader to be able to hold all of this together.
Okay, and the perfect segue there into the last 5 minutes of this interview here. So the current mayor was very vocal about a lot of the, when you talk about the governor and the president, partnerships that impacted Shelby County. The current mayor was very vocal, and even at times, in some cases, was a part of the legal challenges of XAI, the Memphis Safe Task Force, the Oversight Board of MSCS. What are your stances on those very polarizing establishments?
As mayor, I have to bring common sense to the office. I've got to bring common sense, common judgment, good economic sense. Several things. We talk about the plant, the AI plant. That is a $40 billion, with a B. That is a $40 billion investment that is already there. That has created 240 jobs, that adds millions into our economic good. Now, I'm not sure of what relationship and conversations that the previous mayor or the current mayor has had with those people. I know that plan is there. I know there's a $40 billion investment in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm going to sit down with those people, find out what's in the best interest of Shelby County. If there is a danger, how do we fix it? If there are problems, how do we solve them? And then let's move on with life. The task force has received overwhelming support from the people of Memphis and Shelby County. There are people who are saying that their neighborhoods are safe. Now, of course, there is no such thing as a totally 100% successful program. No matter who the politician is, no matter what party is in power at that particular time, you monitor and you adjust. The task force will one day serve its purpose, and it will one day go away, just like anything else that is an emergency task force or an emergency initiative. It will go away one day because we have a great sheriff department. We have a great police department, and each of our suburban cities have great law enforcement officers. And so at some point in time, as they reboot, rebuild, retrain, and hire more officers, this will become a moot issue and it will go away. And let me say this also. If we're borrowing money already to pay our debt, why would we spend millions of dollars of something that's already settled on a lawsuit? Who's getting the money? Who are we paying for a frivolous lawsuit after the Supreme Court, the district attorneys, when it has been shown that it's constitutional and it's been settled? Now, at some point, you start getting the job done and stop fighting. And to fight for the sake of fighting, to spend money for the sake of spending money, I just find that, to me, that's poor leadership.
I've heard Memphis being touted as a blueprint when it comes to the data center conversation. And XAI is, here and seemingly here to stay. It's a part of our, military intelligence now, is what I've been told. However, the hesitation that we're seeing with data centers being planted elsewhere, especially in Nashville, there's a whole protest against it, another data center being next to the zoo. But Memphis being the blueprint for a task force for an XAI, some would say that it's at the cost of Black and brown neighborhoods. Black and brown people have to be subjected to pollution for Nashville to have hesitancy. Or, task force members over policing can end with a 20-year-old man shot in downtown Memphis on July 4th, whereas other cities are applying for DOJ money to get resources that Memphis didn't seemingly have the option. So with that, there's a lot of people who feel that when does Memphis stop getting to be the guinea pig? Well,
I think that we're looking at this totally wrong. When does Memphis stop being strategically important? When does Memphis stop being the largest county in the state of Tennessee? When does Memphis stop being the distribution center of the country? Basically, where we are in Memphis, and I understand what you're saying, but we invite others into our business when we don't do business as we should. We had all of this ruckus in our school system. We had this superintendent. We had lawsuits with the superintendent. We had women coming forward. We had all of this embarrassing stuff that was going on in our education. We were talking about everything but educating our children, paying our teachers, and taking care of our buildings. We've got all of these lawsuits and all of this embarrassing stuff going on within our school system. What does that do? That invites folks from the outside to look in and say, you're not taking care of your business. I am not the county mayor at this moment. Those who are claiming that certain things are not right and not good were in power when they were instituted. Who were the mayors when the task force came? Who were the mayors when the AI was built? Who were the mayors when the takeover was conceived? Basically, you got to look at the leadership. What I will do when I come in, I'm coming to look at the messes that have been made and then try to figure out what's the best way to deal with these messes. These folks are in power now. All of this has been done under their leadership, under their watchmanship. If you could stop it, why didn't they stop it? If it was wrong, why didn't they alter it and turn it around? Obviously, there is a disparity somewhere. And when I become the mayor, I'll find out where it is.
Okay, yeah, you've given me some good material for my next questions then, for whoever else I need to interview about those very topics. Last question here as we end the interview here, and we really appreciate your time coming in, is just we're getting down to the finish line. The general election for Shelby County is August. So any lasting words you want voters or constituents to know about why they should vote for you?
They should vote for me because I'm a serious politician. They should vote for me because I'm a father. I lost my wife years ago. Until then, I was a married man, a husband for over 40 years. I have run a business. I have dealt with corporate entities. I've dealt with the media, even with the movie industry. In essence, I've got a diverse background of experience that I bring into that office. I don't come in just as a politician, just as a minister, or just as a black man. I come in as a man who has watched the metamorphosis of Memphis, Tennessee for the last 50 years, from Martin Luther King marching to Dr. Harrington being sworn in, and many of the changes that have happened in Memphis and Shelby County. So I come in with a historical understanding of who we were, what we're capable of becoming, and how we got in many of the messes that we are right now. I don't particularly point fingers at anybody. I suppose people have done the best they can, but I know we can do better. And that's what I intend to see to it that happens in the mayor's office from this point on.
Okay, strong point to end on. Thank you, Mr. DeBerry, for coming in today. We really appreciate it. You gave us really good nuggets there. I think hopefully our viewers took a lot from it and learned more about you and make a more informed decision at the polls. All right, thank you for watching, and please follow ABC 24 for all political coverage leading up to the August Shelby County general election.